Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and we've had some leaks, and of course we have a leak of the Tatum 2, the One Take or Jordan Westbrook One Take 5, which is Russell Westbrook's kind of like a budget shoe. I wonder if they're gonna continue his actual signature shoe line. I wonder, right? So we have a leak of that, and also we have some news, right? So we have Jokic, and he has signed a deal with 361 degrees, which is absolutely amazing. I mean, honestly, so first of all, if you're a company, I don't think signing big guys is the answer because I don't know. I feel like even if they are the MVP or whatever, a really good player, I just don't think big guys sell shoes. Right? I mean, if you look at the past, like Shaq didn't really sell shoes, you know? So I don't think he's gonna sell that many shoes. But it is smart to sign the actual player, but giving him an actual signature shoe, I feel like isn't the best option, right? Because look at Embiid as well. I mean, he was signed with Under Armour. He actually had a signature shoe. He had only one, and then they discontinued it, you know? Which now Joel Embiid is rumored to be signing with Skechers. But of course, Jokic was with Nike. He was wearing the Zoom GT Jump, or the original one, and then the 2, and then now he's wearing like another 361 degree shoe. So it's called the Big 3 Future CQT, and it looks like a big man shoe, right? So I guess that's dope, and 361 degrees signing him, I think, is a good move on their part, but I hope they don't give him a signature shoe. It's probably not going to sell, you know what I mean? So it's good to see that the market in the NBA is going up, you know, as far as diversity goes, you know, because everyone used to just want to be signed with Nike, but I think everyone now is trying to just get money, right? And which of course is a smart thing to do instead of trying to be brand loyal. So I think that's pretty cool, right? But anyways, next we got the Westbrook One Take 5 by Jordan brand, right? So I guess they're continuing his budget shoe line. It's been a while since his actual signature shoe came out, so I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, the One Take line has been not so good in my personal opinion. I mean, the first one was absolutely amazing. I really like the performance of the first one, but the 2 through 4 has been right? So hopefully the One Take 5 is good, but we have, for the outsole, we have some herringbone, right? And we have a translucent rubber pod in the forefoot. It's a very interesting shape. If you look at it sideways, it kind of looks like a hat, like a fireman hat or something like that, right? So it's translucent, right? And we can see this black pod. I don't know what that is. As far as the cushioning setup goes, it doesn't say Zoom or anything anywhere. I believe all the other kind of like One Take models had like a forefoot, like a smaller forefoot Zoom unit. But now that I'm looking, it doesn't really say Zoom anywhere or anything, right? And that little black pod that you can see through the translucent outsole in the forefoot, I'm pretty interested as to what that is as well. We can see a midfoot chain plate, and yeah, so the outsole, I mean, herringbone, of course, is tried and true. It's a great pattern. We'll have to see how good the actual rubber compound is. And then the actual upper just looks like a mesh, like a pretty mesh. It'll probably be around 110 bucks. So the material quality probably isn't going to be the best. And you know, Nike has been, or I guess Jordan brand, or I guess like companies in general have been giving us really crappy material quality, especially for the price, but 110 bucks, not a huge deal. And then on the lateral side, this actually looks like more of a casual shoe, maybe even like a skate shoe, which I do like. It looks actually really good. I'm not a huge fan of this colorway because of the red. Maybe if it was like a white color, I would like it a little bit more. And also with this midfoot panel, with this like synthetic leather material, probably with the holes in it, looks great. We have the necessary lateral counters on the side as well, especially in the forefoot, it looks like. So it does look good. We'll have to see on performance. So there's the One Take 5. And also we have, okay, so shout out to Sneaker Highway 23, but he says on the post on Instagram, he says next level question mark. So Adidas, of course, if you guys didn't know, the Next Levels, the original one, I mean, all the Next Levels have been laceless, right? And if I remember correctly, there's been how many models? Like 2 or 3 models of the Next Level, and the last Next Level came out like a couple years ago. So it's been a while since Adidas actually released the Next Level shoe. And I remember Zach LaVine, I think Zach LaVine used to be signed with Adidas, right? If I remember correctly, and he used to wear the Next Levels. But that shoe was so heavy, so bulky for the cushion and clunky. But yeah, I don't know. This is so weird. This doesn't even look like a finished product. It looks more like a prototype. The rubber kind of comes up to cage the actual midsole and stuff like that, but it looks like it'll be pretty heavy and clunky. You know, I don't really like how Adidas does that, you know what I mean? Especially with weight, right? So Puma and Adidas makes very heavy shoes, right? So all their shoes are around 14, 15 ounces, which is freaking heavy. Every other company like Nike, And all Chinese companies have been pretty light so far, 11 to like 13 ounces, you know? So I wish they would kind of cut back on the weight a little bit. But yeah, I mean, Next Levels, if you guys didn't know, they're trying to make it more future, right? It's supposed to be the next level in performance or whatever. And it's always been laceless because they're trying to be different and be like, oh, that's the future of shoes, you know? So I don't really know what's going on with these kind of like synthetic overlays that kind of look like straps, you know? But yeah, it does look like a pretty interesting system, especially in the back, because we do have like elastic bands in the back, it looks like. And it looks like it goes in, like it's such a weird system, you know? But anyways, it does look like a prototype, so there is the Next Levels. But yeah, as far as the Tatum 2s go, the Tatum 2s look absolutely terrible in my personal opinion. So of course we have the original Tatum 1, right? And this shoe was really, really nice. And the thing that I liked the most about this shoe was the weight. The weight is really, really light on the shoe. One of the lightest basketball shoes of this year. And it comes in at 10.85 ounces. So to compare, the Curry 4 Low Flow, right, is a little bit heavier. It's 11.35 ounces. These are super light, but then the Tatum ones take it to the next level. The Tatum ones are extremely, extremely light. Not the best for support though, right? So that's what I like about the Currys a little bit more. These are a little bit more supportive. These, the material I think is a little too soft, you know what I mean? So it would move over on itself a little bit, even though we do have all the necessary lateral counters, right? So your foot's not coming out of the footbed, but the overall material is so thin that it kind of moves, you know, a little bit like this, right? So it wasn't terrible, but if you're looking for really, really good support, it wasn't the best option. But of course, also we do have the 4-foot pods, the 2 4-foot pods here. And also here in the heel, we didn't have any rubber. That was to reduce all the weight, or a lot of the weight, because rubber is pretty heavy, right? But also the cushion was very nice, right? We had a very large volume zoom unit here in the 4-foot, and it had a very nice bounce. It has really good core feel too. So that's what I really liked about the Tatum ones, right? But the Tatum 2s, I saw it. It looks like the Tatum 1. You know what I mean? Which I think is cool in the sense of like, if they're gonna continue with this design language, you know what I mean? Because there's some shoe lines where like the Kobe's or the Kyrie, like the Nike Kyrie shoe line, where you're like, you know it's a Kobe or you know it's a Kyrie. You know, they have that overall design language where it's like, oh, that's the Kyries, you know what I mean? Which is really, really cool. But then there's also shoe lines like the LeBrons where you're like every shoe design is so radically different than the last shoe that it's like, oh, you don't really know if you don't really know shoes, you know what I mean? So maybe they're trying to go for like, oh, this is the aesthetic that the Tatum line is going to have in the future with like these 2 panels, because we have like the 2 panels here in the Tatum 1 as well. And then the Tatum 2, we have the 2 kind of panels on the lateral side, right? But when I first saw it, I thought it was like a fake or like a kid shoe, right? So if you guys look at the Tatum 1 kids shoe, it literally looks the same. The 2 panels are covered up, and if you guys didn't know, like the kids and like the big kids shoe models, they're a little bit cheaper than the actual men's shoes, but they also lack a little bit of the tech as well, right? So that's what I thought it was, or maybe like a fake version or something like that, or a casual version of the Tatum. But you can see Jayson Tatum's logo, and then also on the side we can see the Jumpman logo, right? But yeah, holy crap, guys, this shoe looks so weird. I really don't like how it looks, right? I hate the panels on the side. I don't know. Maybe it's probably the pre-leaks or the leaked images, because the leaked images are always terrible. They always look bad. And I feel like, you guys know the AE1, Anthony Edwards shoe, right? Especially when the first shoe leaks came out. Same thing with the Zoom Freak 1, I believe it was, right? The leaks were terrible, but then when the actual shoe came out, you're like, oh, it actually looks really, really good. So we'll have to wait on the actual official images of the Tatum 2, but right now the leaked images look absolutely terrible, right? And so as far as the outsole goes, the outsole, they changed it up. So the Tatum 2 is probably gonna be a lot heavier than the Tatum 1, and that's what I liked about the Tatum 1, which I'm pretty sad about. But yeah, we have pretty much a full-on outsole, right? And there's so many parts of the outsole where there's no actual grooves, which is concerning to me a little bit. We do have some like 4-foot pods and like a heel pod as well, with a little bit of like a chaotic herringbone traction pattern. But yeah, we'll have to see on the traction, right? The traction in the Tatum 1 is pretty good. They pick up a little bit of dust. So we'll have to see on how good the rubber compound is in the Tatum 2. But also in the middle of the outsole is as Air Strobel, which I'm very, very excited about. I love Air Strobel. Hopefully it's full-length Air Strobel. So the Zion 1 had full-length Air Strobel, which I really liked. And also sometimes I do like Air Strobel a little bit more than Zoom Strobel, because Air Strobel is a little bit more comfortable because there's not as much like air pressure in the actual unit. So when you're walking around, it's a little bit softer, it's a little bit more comfortable, and then when you start going, when you start kind of running, it does get a little bit bouncier. Obviously not as bouncy as Zoom, but Zoom is a little too much at times. There's a little too much compression sometimes, right? Especially when they make it super thick. But Air Strobel, honestly, I'm not mad at. The cushion here in the Tatum 1 was very nice. Very good core feel. Like I said, I love the Zoom unit. Nice, perfect, subtle bounce in the forefoot, which I did like. The heel had a nice bit of compression. Step and comfort was great, right? So Tatum 2 hopefully lives up to that. But yeah. And then here in the back, we have the number 0. And we have like a little bit of a plastic external heel counter, kinda, not really, but it does cage the cushion as well a little bit. And then on the tongue, as far as the upper goes, it looks to be a textile material, which I'm very happy about. It's a lot better. It'll probably be a lot more supportive than this mesh material found in Tatum 1s. But yeah, this textile looks great. It looks very supportive, but also pretty high quality, right? The tongue, it looks the same as well, like not super well padded, and then also in the ankle area, it's not super well padded as well. But this is a different colorway, right? And then also like on the sides, I don't know guys, not a huge fan of how the sides look, you know what I mean? It says find a way, and it's like this texture, like this the rubber pod. I just, with the herringbone traction pad, I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't think it looks that good, right? But yeah, there is a Tatum 2. I'm pretty excited about it as far as like the tech goes, you know. But one thing is that it does not look like it'll be as light as the Tatum 1, which kind of sucks. I wish they would have kind of kept it like the light kind of Jordan shoe models, because Jordans aren't super light. They're not known for being very light, just like Pumas and also just like Adidas shoes, you know what I mean? But also Harden has been playing in the Harden Volume 8, and he's been having some amazing colorways of, I mean, PEs obviously, and this one looks really, really dope, right? And the kind of silhouette is growing on me a little bit. It still looks so weird to me. You know what I mean? It looks like a bare bones kind of design, which I like. It's growing on me a little bit. But it just reminds me a lot of that Pokemon with the bonehead thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you guys didn't know, we do have kind of like leaked info of the Harden Volume 8. So from the catalog, shout out to Tim Walsh official, but it is saying it's going to use Jet Boost and Light Strike, which is pretty cool, right? So that's very similar to the AE1, and the AE1 is awesome. The cushion feels great, and it feels a little bit softer and a little bit better than the Harden Volume 7, right? So if the Harden Volume 8 is gonna have very similar cushion, then it'll be a little bit of an improvement from the Harden Volume 7 as well. So I'm very, very excited about that, but hopefully it's not super heavy, because the AE1 is pretty heavy, coming in around 15.3 ounces. Same thing with the Harden Volume 7. And then hopefully the Harden Volume 8 is a little bit lighter. But as you guys can see, as far as the actual side panel, like the bone thing, you know what I mean? That's all foam. And foam is pretty heavy, and it's going all the way up into the upper as well. So the shoe's probably gonna be heavy, you know what I mean? Probably around 15 ounces. So but it's probably gonna be pretty responsive, right? So I'm very excited about the Harden Volume 8. That's supposed to be coming out in like January of next year, February, around there. Tatum 1, we don't know yet, and also the One Take, we don't know yet. But very, very excited about those shoes as well. So tell us what you guys think of the Tatum 2 as far as the aesthetics go. I definitely think the 1 looks a lot better. But anyways, that about wraps up this video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.